Hi, welcome to Self-Generated. My name is Steve. This is my web series, podcast, online show, whatever you want to call it. And we're exploring the ideas of perception, how you and I actually perceive things like taste and smell, and what those things actually are, how they functionally actually real world work for you, and what that might mean. And why we talk about it is if there's a real way in which we actually do this versus how we think we do, that sometimes there's a discomfort. And that, for example, if I say that you tasting something, you smelling something is not 100% a reflection of reality, how does that make you feel? Does it make you feel uncomfortable? Well, what I'm trying to claim is that through active inference and body cognition and extended mind, what that is that you believe a certain thing to be true, and that anything that comes in sensory information wise that challenges that, what you do with that defines you. Do you say, hey, this is bullshit? Do you turn it off? Do you wonder, look, and explore? That signal is active inference at its how it's working. That's how active inference works. And that when we think of taste and we think of smell, we think more that maybe there's something like us that's just experiencing the sensory information coming in. But taste, you have your taste buds that you think of. You have your olfactory senses, meaning your smelling organs, like your ability to smell. But we know right off the bat that it can't be a 100% reflection of reality. One, why would you'd have drug sniffing people? I knew some people who would like that job. But if you have drug sniffing dogs, why? Because dogs have an ability to experience and perceive quite a few more smells, on the spectrum, a lot of smaller parts per billion. We're not built to be 100% detectors of odor, and thank God. You can imagine the smells that you have to avoid now, that you deal with now, that you don't like now. Imagine having a hypersensitive nose. Well, actually, also, just don't even imagine that. Imagine living in ancient Rome. Imagine the smells you had to deal with there. People didn't seem to complain about it as much. Well, people did. There was some writing to it, but that's not the point. Is that a lot of you smelling and your attention to the smells, again, is not 100% reflection of reality. Otherwise, again, people who do the Honeywell wagons, who deal with literal shit all day, wouldn't be able to, because you become adapted to it. You adjust your experience to it because it is not just a 100% reflection of reality. Just like taste is not a 100% reflection of reality. It is an amalgam of things. Your tastes change over time. I hope they do. If you're one of those 85-year-old guys sitting in the nice fancy steak place who gets the hundred and something dollar piece of steak and chars the fucking thing and covers in ketchup, kindly go fuck yourself. No, I'm sorry, but go fuck yourself. The idea is that our willingness to taste and change things over time is part of the human experience, because our experience of taste is not a 100% reflection of reality. What it is clearly is a reflection of what we believe to be reality, what we think, what we anticipate. And eating in particular, you can really see how much of what we anticipate, what we believe, affects our overall experience. Now, one, taste is not just the tongue, as I had said, which is pretty clear. Some people, though, I believe, think that you take a bite of something and the molecules hit your tongue, and then that just triggers your dopamine, and bada bing. It's not that mechanistic. If you're sick and you're trying to eat something, what happens? It tastes different, right? Why? Because part of your experience of taste is the smell. It's the texture, it's the crunch, it's the color. If you order from any fast food place and you see this picture of this delicious thing, and then the fucking piece of shit you get, that sense of disgust, that dissatisfaction, is from active inference, not just because you got fucked. You realize you got fucked. You realize that the thing that you expected is not what you expect, and you taste it different. You experience it different. If I had the best homemade, your favorite cooked meal right in front of me, and I'm handing it to you, but you are in a plane that's going down, you are sitting at the toilets at Burning Man, you are in a situation, an environment that is unpleasant, it won't taste the same, because the taste is not just that. It is not just, your taste is not just the food. It is the environment, is the experience. That's why fancy restaurants have a different experience. That's why home cooked meals or home cooked food can, by most people's accounts, be better. And in no small part, it's because of the nostalgia of it. It's because of what the food represents. It's that the homeness, all the different things that that meal and that experience represent. Have you ever had where somebody goes, hey, let's go to this place, I love this place? I live in LA and I'm in my 40s. I've traveled to all sorts of different places, and I've had this happen a bunch, where people go, oh my God, this place is amazing. And you go there and you're like, meh, it's not that it's bad. It's just that it's a fucking hot dog, right? Or it's a whatever it is. And only a handful of places that have been truly, to me, like, oh my God, this is something else. But it's not to negate that this person is stupid, that they don't know, that they're not worldly. It's that a lot of that experience, especially in the taste, is in the encoding of it, and the experience, the fact that it was at a party, that it was tied to your dad, that it was all these other things, are not weaknesses of self. They're reflections that your experiences, like taste and smell and touch and sight, are reflections of your models and interpretations of the world and the sensory information, not just the sensory information. All right. And that the fact that smell can bring up memories and comfort and senses and all these other things, like aromatherapy, is again not because it's triggering some fucking circuit. It's that it's affecting the way you think. It's bringing up you into patterns of thought that relate to that experience, because you encode experiences different than just like a tape player recording the memory. And that how we think about them, how we talk about them, how we share them, how we relate them to others, reinforce that idea. Who are our friends that relate these ideas? The complex interactions of our totality of our life help generate our experience. And that it's not just the chemicals in the food. It's not just that your mom is special. It's not just that Twinkies are the best thing ever. It's a totality of things. And that when we don't think about that, we don't understand the reality of our experience of taste and smell and sight and touch, that those that do have a superior understanding of reality take advantage of you. What do I mean by that? Well, processed food. It uses the low-hanging fruit to get you to have an experience that is satisfying when it's not nutritionally satisfying. Because you're not a rational actor when it comes to nutrition, right? You're supposed to be a rational actor when you buy the thing, but that's another story. Like if you get a Dorito chip, it is literally corn glue with MSG on it. And that when you take a bite of it, because of the coloring, the packaging, the nostalgia, the hit of the salt, the hit of the flavor, and the totality of the experience, that you get this level of satisfaction in the bite and the eating of it. And you can't just have one and you keep going. And this is repeated over and over and over again with candy and other things. High fructose corn syrup is awful for you. All these things that trigger this, not just evolutionary click in your head that you need to be better than. It plays into the idea that it understands that your taste is not a reflection of just your taste buds. It's a reflection of your understanding. It's a reflection of your social status. It's a reflection of a lot of other things that they take advantage of to sell you products that are not as nutritionally beneficial for you as if you were thinking logically you would choose. And that this is everywhere. It's in everything. It's not a fucking conspiracy. It's the nature of things when you have a reality that's one way and you think it's another, and you are unwilling and incapable of looking at reality for what it is, because you're incapable and unwilling to hold on to an uncomfortable, possibly true, maybe not true thought, but just being able to hold on to it versus make it negative, make it evil, turn it off, make yourself feel smart, do anything else to offset the signal versus just look at the rationality and reality of the idea. And that taste and smell, they're awesome. They're cornerstone of our life, but that it's in no small part of your experience. And that if you can recall, I see it a lot, I have kids, but if you have ever been around, or if you recall your childhood and you remember your progression of unwillingness to eat things, how you thought they would taste, and like not even have any taste whatsoever of it. And you see this again and again and again with kids. It's because your experience of taste and your unwillingness to try new things offsets your actual experience. And a lot of times, I don't know about you, but I've been eating something like, this is amazing, and you find out it's got sour cream that you never wanted to eat, or onions, or whatever it is. And that a lot of that was just because I said, oh fuck, this is actually good. And that I ended up enjoying it. And that now they're a big part of my diet. But it wasn't that they were tasting bad, it was that I had needed them to taste bad. And I experienced them as tasting bad because I believed that they taste bad. It had nothing to do with how they actually tasted. It had everything to do with the act that I was trying to project out into the world and not realizing it. That I was trying to manifest this reality. And that when other people would be like, you make fun of me picking off my onions of my burger, I would make fun of them. Versus, you know what, maybe I'll try it without. Maybe I won't like it. It's not the end of the world. But I gave so much certainty to how I didn't like it. And when I stopped acting that way, it went away. Because for me, and in no small part for a lot of other people, taste and smell are generated experiences. They're not just reflections of reality. When I was a raging alcoholic, I could drink raw vodka, boom, 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 no problem. Everybody else, not even skip a beat. But it's because I created that model where I didn't gag, I didn't do all those things. I made myself that way. I made that okay. I wasn't just built that way because my experiences and everything is tied to active inference, embodied cognition, and extended mind. And that it's not just a reflection of reality to some automatic sense of self. And that there's something very, very important to that. And that it's clear. It's certain. I don't know what else to tell you. But that however you want to write it, however you want to look at it, that you can't say that your reflections of experiences are 100% reality. And that's okay. If that gives you pause, if that gives you trepidation, that's fine. Understand this, though, that you cannot make it 100% reality. If you need to make it 100% reality, well, then you need to live in a story. And those of us that need to live in the real world, we're going to conflict. And that as we get further into this, as we get into the ideas of prehistory and civilization, that's what you'll see. Is that once we start understanding how we take in the world, how we experience the world, and when we look at our history of the world, we can see how we actually work. And that's the point of self-generated. If you have questions, comments, concerns, feel free to leave them in the comments. Hit me up on X at SelfGen Podcast. But otherwise, till next time, search.